Well, the best game of the tournament so far. ENCE versus G2, the two highest rated teams coming into this event, finally meet each other in the tournament. G2 on the CT side, ENCE on the T side. It's a quick replay straight through the ramp room already. Sergey with the first headshot, Alu backing him up, and now it's a 5v3.
A very quick play coming through as ENCE claim that control, rotates from G2 all the way around. You've got Nexa and Jax coming in from CT. Jax with no armor and he's already been ripped apart.
Well, Jax finding one, Nexa picking up another, but the kills keep coming through for ENCE. That leaves Hunter left in a 1v3. Well, he has got a chance to get back into the site, but the time is starting to take no utility. He has got the kit though, and there's low HP on him, and Alu will take his head off. ENCE will find the pistol. Good start coming into this.
You want to be starting it out well on the T side, get a little bit of momentum going. We'll see though, because we know a lot of teams like to go for that second round force buy, and if G2 pull that out, it's not going to be all too clean of a start for ENCE.
No, not indeed, and well, it was just a quick play in towards the A-bomb site from ENCE, just so potent, immediately finding the headshots. There was no trades coming in from G2 immediately after, so ENCE off to the good start. They'll have themselves a solid buy coming into this one. 2 AKs, a UMP, MAC-10 and Galwheel. Over on G2, it's a scout in the hands of Kenny S. Not exactly the sniper that you want to have in his hands, but we'll see what he can do with it. He does damage on towards Sunny, dropping him to 29. All he needs to do is just soften up a couple of these opponents, and these pistols become much more potent.
That smoke towards top connector is going to leave us with a little bit of dead time now for G2 to just sit around and wait for ENCE to make a move. Nice little spam coming down onto Nexa, but doesn't receive quite the reward and damage that it could have. The kill comes down eventually, though, as he goes back for more. Alu with the opening duel of the round, and G2 starting to move away from connector now, going a little bit more aggressive on the A side to try and claim some control, spot the info on whether this is going to be a B hit or not, and it looks like it will be, with Hunter up close though. Amanek can bait for him.
The timing was nearly awful there. Sunny gets past, but Amanek still hasn't seen him. Hunter hiding in towards the ladder room. Sunny just waiting on. He's got so many angles to check. I think Sunny's dead for rights inside of that short position. Jack's pushed all the way through the ramp. He's got so much info off of this play, and while Sunny decides to walk in towards the ladder room, and that's where Hunter will take his head off. Jax with a chance to pick up a few kills here as well. Sergey gonna check the corner. Jax will be falling to the AK-47. Advantage still in favor of ENCE as they start to make their way in towards the A-bomb site. They want to try and finish the round here, and Kenny S currently posted inside of CT, up on top of the ticket box. Utility being used up. Sergey, the front man, charging on through, does damage on towards Kenny. He's dropped to 12 and will continue to frag as Alu finds a headshot. Oh, another one coming in from ENCE, and easy pickings.
Yeah, big play to be made by Amanek here with the CZ in hand. As X7 hunts forward, he's just spotted him out. Not able to find the kill, but the bomb still goes down in time. Not quite able to swing out to deny it. ENCE pick up the second round, and now G2 not going to be in the best of positions. Should be a third connected for ENCE. And this allows them to use the rifles that they've obviously accumulated to use their range advantage up against those USPs, make sure they're not going to be losing a whole lot.
Over on G2, picking up a couple of these itchy grenades coming into a full pistol round. So you want to soften them up, see if you can get a few kills off the back of these pistols. But the overall goal is to move into the next round and find themselves that buy coming through. ENCE should be up 3-0. It should be the perfect start that they were looking for. Alu with a headshot connecting on towards Hunter, overrun by Jax, who that's a nasty headshot in towards top middle. But look at the positioning. Sunny is just hopping around with his MAC-10. Yet to find a kill, but this could very quickly change as the Molotov goes into the corner. That'll force Nexa into the open. Sunny gets a right read on the nade as well. Doesn't quite take its time, actually. It will eventually drop Amanek. Kenny will finish off at 7, but he's got the AK. He wants to carry this into the next round if possible, but he's doing as much damage as he physically can. But Kenny, he cannot pick up the kill just yet. Eventually will, on towards Sunny. Now it's a 2v2. Still unwinnable for G2, but they've done so much damage, and they want to try and eliminate a few more of these players. You know, Kenny can save that AK, but Jax is still on a P250.
Well, he's not on a P250 anymore, getting shut down by Aerial. And for Kenny, saving the AK forward is obviously ideal. He's moving down towards the window, though, so he could be in a little bit of danger with Aerial still towards top middle, but it doesn't look like he's going to be punished for it. Indeed, the weapon carried through to the next round. It's a small advantage, but allows you for those one-shot headshots to come through, which is always nice to see for the CD side. Should help them out. We know this isn't a map that's all too comfortable for them. We were talking about, or they were talking about on the desk, how this could come down to a lot of mid-control just waiting for them. But immediately off the bat, into the first buy round, G2 are going for a double op setup. That can certainly make it a little bit easier especially if you're committing both of them towards middle. But for now, it looks like Amanek's just going to be solo towards the B bomb site with Kenny S looking down from the connector towards the top of middle. Nexus supporting on the M4. Ready to lob some utility if the push comes through in mid.
Well, ENCE straight in towards the A bomb site. Jack's waiting, 2 headshots and the bomb rolling to his feet. The perfect start for the Frenchman as he hides in towards Underwood. Finally, a Molotov will come in, trying to force him into the open. He just smokes it off, throws the nade in towards the ramp, looking to try and pick them up, but Alu will eventually fall. It's Sunny and Sergey, left in a 2 versus 5. Well, certainly looking good for G2. Sergey will try to scrap it back, but he's dropped to 20 after his first kill. But the most important part, he still has Sunny to play with. He will start to make his way through the ramp. Kenny catches off Sergey. Now it's only Sunny on his own. Nexus swings, and the headshot connected. Perhaps not expecting another player to be positioned under the wood. And G2 will pick up their first. And such an important round to do it in as well, right? It's their first gun round.
Yeah, ENCE didn't really, or ENCE wanted to test the water there, moving towards the A bomb site. They knew it was going to be a full buy round for G2. Yeah. Want to see how it worked out, but with Jax just shutting them down, and this is what Jax has been doing this whole tournament, right? He's been good for multiple kills whenever he's been tested. ENCE will now probably switch up their strategy. You already see off the bat they're moving in towards that middle position. They want to get their control there. And this is what was highlighted on the desk as being their superior positioning on Mirage, where they're going to find the advantages.
Well, Hunter makes his way through towards the underpass. Sunny loses that 1v1 duel. Advantage picked up for G2 in round number 5. ENCE the replies to try and send some players in towards middle, Ari up towards top mid.
ENCE moving down through underpass. He wants to get himself the bit of control they were looking for earlier on, see if he can hunt down the kill. It's not to be found though. Top mid goes their way. Bomb still left behind. No dedication towards the bomb site just yet. They want to slow things way down.
Yeah, but look at this push for the ramp coming through from Nexa and Jax. They're just pushing all the way through, getting so much information off of this, and starting to put players up in towards the connector. Jax is all the way towards T-spawn. This is so much info for G2, and X7 is coming this way. He needs to be careful. Jax is waiting, and well, he's not looking the right way. He didn't even have his rifle in his hands, and X7 will finish him off. At least Nexus here should be able to trade, but X7 wins the aim duel as well. This is certainly looking good for ENCE. 40 seconds. This is not the way it should have went for G2. They were in prime position to take those kills. And unfortunately for them, they lose both of the aim duels, leaving 30 seconds on the clock, and ENCE pouncing on the A-bomb site. Kenny, the only player picking up kills, and while he has a chance to find another, Amanek, the double-up setup, needs to be effective. And when he does land a shot right through the top of the connector, Ariel finished off. Sergey and Alu trying to get it done as they move forward. Alu on the big flank, drops away Kenny S, and now it's only Amanek. The kit available for the retake, but it's certainly going to be difficult with the AWP. You might even consider just backing off and letting this one slide, and certainly got lucky in the mid-round, winning both of those aim duels in towards spawn. G2 definitely should have dropped X7. That would have caused so many problems for ENCE.
Amanek's still moving forward, looking for it, and that's the kill he needed to prompt him to push all the way through. Nade goes through towards the back corner, not going to be finding anything with it. No shot connected. Time is too low now to commit all that he has. The utility, the kit, the armor, the AWP, there's so much cash on him. And so he'll just back off and save this through to the next round. For G2, they're not going to be afforded a fantastic buy when it comes down to utility, but they can still get scraps out if they want to around that AWP, with Amanek being able to drop Jax. For the most part, rifles will be accessible. But 4-1, it's a good start for ENCE now on this map. G2 struggling early on, with ENCE having rifles and about to cripple the other team's economy. This is a lot of pressure on G2 to win this one out.
Well, G2 last buy for a little while if they don't get this one picked up. X7 straight away in towards middle. Molotov's going to land in towards the connector with a flashbang, deploying in towards mid. No one from G2 getting aggressive this time. Instead, it's going to be a push from ENCE, waterfalling out of Palace with 2 players. There's a third left up there as well. Nexa on the stairs. It's actually Ariel to find first blood in this round, but finally Nexa will strike into action, but it's still not enough. Since the kill has come through for ENCE as they continue to just dominate G2 in these aim duels. ENCE looking for the follow-up on towards Amanek. It's X7 who takes that kill, leaving Hunter alone 1v4. And while winning this is impossible. So G2, not exactly the greatest start. It's not the hottest of starts at all from the side. Not exactly hitting their shots And if it's anything to go by a lot of these player interviews, hitting your shots and playing your own game is the winning formula.
Certainly what they like to lean towards. Anyways, maybe that's also just not giving too much away to your opponents. For ENCE, just overwhelming that A-bomb side again and again. Look, you've got the Opera peeking in. Kenny S has struggled to make it happen from CT, often just finding one when he goes through for the retakes. You can see he was a little bit surprised to be cut off by Palace like that, but that's the power of the Krieg. If it's able to line up when you're peeking out, especially crouch peeking, you're as good as dead. G2 left in a pretty bad position after that, and they call a tactical pause through to figure out exactly how much they're going to be investing here and where they're going to be deploying their players. I imagine we're going to see a more streamlined round, a quicker one with the G2 side moving perhaps towards a faster play up through top middle if they're feeling a little bit comfortable. But in fact, this pause moves from a tactical over to a technical.
Well, Hellkiss, of course, one of the sponsors here at the Champions Cup Finals. You can use code ECC over at Hellkiss to get a little bit of a bonus on your account. And, well, G2 picking up this round will certainly be a bonus because they've got themselves a Deagle in play, just USPs for the rest. The buy in this round is it's not really a buy at all. So, best G2 can hope for is a couple of kills most likely. ENCE have to get this one over the line, surely. But taking a look at the results when we've seen ENCE versus the head-to-head results against G2 in terms of their recent matches on Mirage, ENCE's results were certainly so much better than G2's. There was huge defeats from G2 as well, one-sided scorelines against them, big problems for them moving into this, and with the good start that ENCE have got here on Mirage, this is exactly what they want coming into the series. They don't get that slow start. They had a decently slow start yesterday against Movistar Riders. They showed they'd pull it back, though.
I'd be getting very nervous if I was G2 with how this has started off. With the fact that Dust 2 is their map pick up next, and we always just put a caveat on that when teams pick Dust 2, just please don't. It's so risky, especially because the last two times that these guys played, it was like 19-17 on it. G2 just edged out the victory. If you're not winning it convincingly as well, and then you're going to be picking it starting on Mirage, ENCE winning the individual duels, that doesn't build it up too well to make it a train.
When you think back in these G2 rosters, they certainly have always had Dust 2 within their map pool. And thinking back to ESL 1 New York, we see ENCE and G2 battle it twice here on this map. It was certainly a long, hard-fought battle. So Dust 2 could certainly be an interesting one, but G2 would certainly want to pose some better results here on Mirage. A technical pause. Hopefully it won't be too much longer. Nexus seems to have a few issues. Doesn't have a headset on, kind of just staring while someone fixes his PC. But I think coming into this tournament, I think an interesting talking point is the fact that these are the two highest rated teams. These are the two teams you wanted to see in the grand final. This isn't the case, though. They're playing in the semis. Only one of these teams will make it to that grand final. And honestly, it's completely open. I think both of these two teams, this could be looked at as the grand final in a way. Because for me, I feel like the winner is probably going to come from the semifinal.
Well, when we started out here, just not even looking at how the playoff bracket would work, let's say the two teams that you would expect before groups were announced would be probably G2 and ENCE to be moving through there. A possibility for Furia, a lower possibility for the likes of a Big to slip through there as well. But this is the match that we were expecting to see at the very end, like you said. To see it culminate here with two Puggy maps to start it out.
I mean, that's the problem for ENCE losing that opening matchup, right? Is the fact that you do have to go to a semi-final against one of the higher seeds. And what ENCE are certainly off to a good start. They seem to grow into the tournament. They looked good yesterday. Recovered some of the mistakes. Again, an opening matchup is a best of one. It can certainly be a map that can... it's certainly a condition where upsets can come through. But hopefully it's not too much longer. Everyone from ENCE seems to be okay at least. They haven't got any problems.
You know, I feel like at this point as well, the tech issue, so I believe Nexus PC is just disintegrated.
Just not working at all.
No, it's completely gone. So that could also help them. It's slowing down a little bit of the momentum for ENCE. You know, they're going to be chilling out now, not able to just keep it rolling. You're coming up against a weaker buy, though. That's the other side of it. If this was moving into a gun round, it'd be a little bit better. But remember, when we come back, G2 are more than likely just going to have a couple pistols, which isn't ideal.
So when I was talking to Nexo recently, actually, about G2 and so the results they were expecting coming into this, I think obviously they're a confident team, but they were quite tentative in their approach, not saying, when I asked them, would they win this tournament, they couldn't just say yes, right? They'd want to be pragmatic. They want to realize that there are difficult teams within this. It's unpredictable. Even the likes of Spirit making it through in this into the semi-finals is pretty ridiculous. I don't think many people would maybe predicted Spirit. I think Hard Legion probably would be the CIS team you expect to go deep. But Spirit somehow showing up yesterday, defeating Hard Legion in quite a convincing fashion. And they won 16 rounds in a row in Dust 2 after falling to a 7-0 start. So I think it's playing out quite surprisingly. I think Fury are definitely going to have a bit of a challenge moving into later today. But for me, I think the Brazilians will probably edge it out. I think going into the final, Fury against either ENCE or G2 could certainly be a hard battle for both rosters. So we have got a nice little championship bracket playing out here.
Now remember, the loser of this goes into the third, fourth place decider. But if you win, you're obviously through to the semifinals, which means guaranteed $50,000.
Yeah, that's the thing at this tournament, right? We have that third place decider. A lot of events do not have those, but the fist bumps are coming in, and that generally means we are ready to commence back into the action. Nexa has returned. We're looking forward to seeing whether or not G2 can recover. They have time, just a few seconds for Malik to chime in and discuss what he wishes to do so. And then we can get right back into the action. ENCE on the T side. They've got off to an excellent start. We'll be looking for the 6-1 lead. And G2 haven't exactly got the buy to deal with that. It's just a couple of upgraded pistols coming into play. A P250 on the back of Kenny S. A little bit of Kevlar sprinkled in with a CZ on Hunter. But let's see if ENCE can get over this hurdle. Sometimes these are the hardest rounds to win.
Presence coming in towards an aggressive A-hold early on. You've got players in Underwood and 2 towards the close part of the bomb site with a rotate coming around from Amanek later on. ENCE run right into the stack. This could be very dangerous for the Finns.
Yeah, well, Ariel doesn't get anything done there with the MAC-10. Luckily, they send the MAC-10 in, right? That's the expendable player that tries to get the info. And once he sees a couple of shots coming his way, ENCE are going to leave the A-bomb site, and they're heading straight in towards B. Putting pressure on towards Hunter. Clearly wanting to try and deliver some impact here as Hunter just hides in below the CZ. Oh my god, that's a free gift. Hunter just rattles away and finds an SG in his hands. He'll look for more, and he's certainly dealing damage with it. X7 being picked off, and not like this ENCE. They've lost 3 players, and they still haven't picked up a kill on towards G2. Round 7 could be a nightmare that ENCE just want to forget. Alu starts to make his way up in towards short. 3-man advantage to play with on G2. Still, just under a minute. There's plenty of time for ENCE to play with. Alu walking forward, gets spotted by Kenny, and now the players on short can be alerted to his position. So staying alive now becomes much more difficult for Alu, especially if he has a nade in his hand when Hunter is around, and he's going to continue to deal the damage on towards ENCE. Last remaining player is the youngster in the form of Surrogate. Can he win the 1 versus 5?
Ain't looking all too likely. G2 have got so many chances to take him down. They're spread out across the map. He's now spotted, and Kenny even made it up behind the box as well. So at this point, planting is pretty much impossible. 15 seconds left. The whole team on the rotate over. They face him and take him down. And look at that as a round for G2. You said just before we went into the tech pause that that would be somewhat of a bonus for them if they were able to pull it off. Didn't quite expect Hunter to be just throwing. He was playing catch with that Krieg and found himself 3 kills afterwards.
And that changes things, right? Because now G2, instead of letting ENCE go 6-1 up, they put themselves in a position where they can start to battle back at the start of this first half. Hunter delivering. He's one of the highest rated players in this tournament so far. I think Hunter certainly has had the skill for a long time. Finally gets a chance in a big team. Playing crazy for so long. And while 5-2 is the score, we'll take a look at ENCE's buy. It's going to be okay. They have X7 on an AK. Galil being played for Aerial to afford a little bit more utility. Alu's going to have to take a hit. Doesn't quite afford a Molotov, but every player has a rifle to work with. And plenty of utility as well.
It's a shame for Alu to be the one taking a hit because he's actually been playing really well so far in these first 7 rounds, the opening of the map and of the series. They called the tech pause, which I really like because they were more than likely affected by how that tech pause came through, the timing of it, and their momentum slowed down. Now we're looking at a slowed down round as well from ENCE.
Oh. Hunter is just so confident right now. This is exactly what you want if you're on G2, but Hunter only manages the 1 frag. Can he look to try and trade back and keep the advantage afloat for G2, but couldn't quite do it efficiently enough. Sergey is going to get a nasty nade to the feet, but X7 again wins a crucial aim duel, this time against Kenny S. Op gone, and that's no longer a problem for ENCE, but they've lost Alu a good trade from Nexa in towards the window.
And it's looking to group up towards the A-bomb side. Jax is all alone, but we've seen him make it work from this position before. The rotate coming in from Nexa as well. He can provide some support. He's got a flash to play with as well. So if Jax gets in a dirty position, that flash can really help him out.
Aerial just holding on. Molotov comes in towards lower wood. Jax has to make his way towards the edge. Aerial behind and sandwich. It's a good kill on the Galil. 3v2, man advantage on the T side is not long-lived as it has been throughout this entire round. And while Nexa gets aggressive, the bomb plant coming through. Nexa moves forward. Aerial wins the aim draw with the Galil, and it's all on Amanek. The chance for G2 to build a few rounds off the back of their pistol heroics has fallen to pieces. And now Amanek has to try and win a clutch. No kit on his back. That makes things incredibly difficult as he has to clear so many angles. He thinks there's a player in ramp, but in fact he's being flanked on the left side. And Aerial, what a mastermind in that round. 6-2.
A bit of a mistake coming through as Nexa didn't lob in that flashbang. You saw Jax just being left on an island by himself. He smoked when they dropped the Molotov down below. They knew he was there, and then he just peeks around the smoke dry. Goes predictably unwell for them, as now a 6th round on the board for ENCE. You look towards that little bit of a recovery, slapping away the last reserves of the economy for G2. A full buy comes through, but only one chance. And if they lose this round here, then they're in hot water for sure. And started out with very early mid-aggression, and Hunter's already been dropped as we get into the game.
Yeah, great kill from Aerial coming in. That's an opening for ENCE to play with. Kenny looks to be the man to trade it back. He nearly gets 2 for 1, but walks away with nothing instead. It's heartbreak for Kenny, yes, but the push is coming through from ENCE. They'll take everything that they can get. And now G2 stand in a situation where they probably just have to save.
With the fact that Sunny and Sergey are low, obviously that will help them if they go for it, but at the end of the day, on paper, it's a 3 versus 5. You're not going to be affording or gambling all of your weapons on that. We talked about it coming into the start of the round that G2 didn't have a lot of cash after losing that previous no loss bonus can save them from this position. But with 3 weapons carried forward, they have the possibility to take out some pistols and possibly have a repeat of what we saw from Hunter in the previous round where they had those CZs.
Yeah, problem is G2 not doing much off the back of that opportunity that was presented to them. ENCE have just looked like the more solid force. Their T side is looking strong. The calls have been on point as well. 7-2 on the board now for the ENCE. And we move into the next one with not a single player falling on ENCE. So that allows this money to start to build on the T side. You start to see it starting to really lay the foundations for it to grow exponentially in the next few. But G2, a couple of problems over on their side of things. The M4 is being picked up, but again, this will be sort of the last standby. They can start to get those M4s in play, utility available. If they lose this one, though, that's when ENCE can really start to do the damage and really start to take a convincing lead.
We're gambling in here fully for G2. They move towards a very light mid-control. The presence not being prevalent, obviously without the AWP. Jax getting aggressive on the ramp. He did get ticked by the Molotov. I don't know if they will have the read that he's up close, though, especially not with Nexa baiting for him.
Well, Nexa with a good headshot. X7 has been on point in terms of these trades and aim duels. Continues to deliver, this time with a Galil. Although G2, they've got Jackson in towards the ramp. You can see how aware ENCE are of this. You know, Jax is one of the most proactive players currently in professional Counter-Strike. He's a treat to watch on Dust too, so when we go over towards that map in the second one, we'll see whether or not he will have the confidence to go for those long pushes, because they're very, very fun to watch. He has a good read of when to do it as well. It's not just this needless aggression, it's always well-timed, or at least most of the time it's well-timed.
Yeah, Amanek's all alone towards the B-bomb side here. It's push coming through from G2. So if ENCE take a little bit too long, they're actually going to have players coming right up on their flank as they're pushing through to the site. The problem for Amanek, no utility. He can't Molotov this to slow them down or smoke it.
Well, he's under pressure. Let's see if he can deal with it. First kill comes in, but that's all he will grab. Sunny, a player that was playing unbelievably for ENCE in their matchup yesterday. Certainly in a situation where Jax can come in from behind, though. Sergey trying to hold it off. Hunter takes him away in Sergey's position. It could have been strong, but he fluffs it. And well, X7, again, has been the consistent player in these recent rounds, but it's all on Sunny. A 1 versus 2, trying to step up for ENCE. His performance has been elevated in the tournament so far, but he needs to deliver a headshot. Nearly a second, but Jax will win it. And G2, they win such an important round.
Solid stuff coming through from G2. They needed it right there. Now, as we look towards the ENCE side, it's disappointing if you're pushing into the B-bomb site like that. And so many mistakes were made. You'd one player on B. They isolated him. They took him down. The flank was coming through, but Jax made all the steps. He even peeked with a nade right afterwards. But still, they don't find that frag. And that's got to be really frustrating for the T's.
I mean, again, there was just that proactiveness from Jax. I always talk about it, but certainly works out for them there. He getting in behind. The flank was on point. And, well, unfortunately, Sergey's position wasn't exactly the same. G2, 3 here on the board. They're going to go for a tactical pause because they know this can't be a one and done. They cannot afford to let this slip as they did in the previous when they were gifted an opportunity to try and compete at the start of this first half. Coming into this one, and still no money problems in terms of their buy. They will get a fully fleshed one as they had obviously the money saved over when they want a clean round. So AWP will be available for Alu, AKs for the rest, and utility of plenty. So G2, it's not going to get any easier for them. They need to get this one over the line as well before they can start to really see the results come through. They can't afford to lose consistently on the CT side of Mirage, but they are going to send 2 players in towards the B-bomb site. 3 on the A side immediately from G2. And no mid-presence. This is something that Maniac was talking about on the desk. The fact that if ENCE start to take this mid-control can start to cause a lot of problems for G2. And well, G2 just let them take it.
Now Kenny is watching passive from short. He's got a nice angle if they go in towards the chair, or at least to spot them coming through. Alu's just around the corner, though, waiting for a peek to come in from Connector. Edging forward, the barrel spotted. That baits Kenny into shooting. The reaction time's a little bit too fast, unfortunately, this time. So no kill to be found. As G2 now lose out any presence on middle, and ENCE look to split this A bomb site.
Well, Nexa going through. Aerial will take him away. Hunter hides in behind the boxes, but Aerial has picked off 2 of his teammates. A 2-man advantage to play with for ENCE. As the bomb plan coming through, Hunter tries to move forward, but Sergey gets rid of him. At 2 versus 5, and while G2 again in a situation where they have to back away. Kenny, yes, gets 1 kill, but it's not enough.
It absolutely isn't. That AWP now looking to save through to the next round. The FAMAS on Amanek, giving him a little bit of support, spotting as they come down in towards CT if they try to hunt it. For ENCE at the moment, they've not got a lot of cash. They'd much rather just save these weapons through to the next round than potentially just rush in and lose a couple more, crippling their economy a little bit further.
Well, ENCE backing away, saving the weapons over. Want to keep most of their players alive. Weren't exactly in a position where they could afford to hunt, but winning this round from ENCE is incredibly important. And again, G2, they have that problem where they find themselves around win, but they cannot make it consistent. They can't put them together. And this is not the way you can win Counter-Strike games, right? You have to start putting the numbers together and stringing around wins. And ENCE have certainly been a solid force in terms of stopping any potential momentum from building on G2. And they come into this again with a far superior buy. G2 will have the AWP in the hands of Kenny S. A couple of pistols invested, but they are going to leave around 2K in the bank for the remaining players. For the next round, they will get a buy. Kenny S needs to deliver. Needs to have a lot of impact, actually, with this AWP in this round. It is one of the only good weapons in play. I'm going to go as far to say the only good weapon, as we do see a FAMAS in the hands of Amanek.
Well, Kenny picks up 1 at least onto Alu. That's a solid opening for him. He was looking for it all around long through middle, but nothing being offered up to him until that frag. Now with 1 minute 20 on the clock, ENCE decide to start a rotate into the A-bomb site. The bomb is grouping up there alongside Sunny, who's left the B apartments to help on this push. And he's needed because the utility is so low, they've only got 2 smokes, and he's one of them. Now for G2, the hold actually looks immediately good. They've got a player down in CT with an AWP. They've got themselves Jax up close alongside Amanek, the FAMAS that we were dissing earlier on. We'll see what they can do now as a majority push through. Palace is about to come in, which is very good for Amanek and Jax.
Yeah, this is perfect for G2. They have 3 players on the A-bomb site ready to go through. ENCE will find the opening headshot. It's Sunny, but they haven't checked Amanek. They still haven't checked his position, and he's just waiting. He knows as soon as they come in towards his crosshair, he can get multiple kills. He lines them up. That's 2, and the bomb hits the deck. It leaves Sergey alone, and G2 will find themselves a round win off the back of a couple of pistols, saved AWP and FAMAS.
Just saw a fist bump and a high five. Those are always
Yep.
a good mixture, but certainly a good mixture of positions coming through from G2. Amanek with great crosshair discipline, and an 8-4 comes in, or trigger discipline.
Yeah, this was huge from Amanek. He's so disciplined in terms of waiting for those players to come in front of his crosshair. Instead of rattling off of the first, has to wait until they drop in. And he's very lucky that they did not check that position. Once they kill the player in default, they just think it's clear, right? They're not going to have 3 players stacked in this area, surely. But ENCE, that position going unchecked causes problems for them. But they come back into this one with another buy. And they've been consistent in the fact that they prevent G2 from putting 2 together. But this time, G2's buy is much better than ENCE's. And wow, KennyS, what a flick just before the flashbang landed. And Aerial is out of there.
Well, you got to be happy with that opening duel. If you're G2, with KennyS finding that, Nexa and Amanek return some more off screen, and this is a huge advantage now for G2 to play with. Sunny has been spotted out and immediately traded after 1 frag, and 8-5 comes through. G2 just keep the rounds rolling, now looking a lot better than they did towards the opening 7 or 8 rounds.
Yeah, this is more like it from G2. And while, you know, chipping away here and there, finding round wins, has put them on 5. They haven't been able to win a couple in a row, but finally they do break that curse. 2 in a row now, looking for their 3rd. And when we take a look over on ENCE, it's just Glock, so it should be a G2 6th on the board. And we could actually end this half as even as it can get. So it has been very back and forth and scrappy, and I think this is going to be the case across the series. I think we're going to have a close affair between these 2 pretty closely matched teams, as Jax is going to hold on. 1st kill, 2nd, and a 3rd coming through alongside Nexa, who will hold on towards the A-bomb side. G2 clean it up. We see 6 on the board.
That's what we wanted, to avoid losing anyone there to the Glocks, although economy damage this late on isn't really going to be a big factor. We're just coming into the last round of the half to decide how far ahead ENCE are going to be. They're already guaranteed to win out. They've got 8 rounds on the board. But G2, hoping that they can find themselves just that extra to bring it all the way up to the 8-7 scoreline at the halftime. They've got their double up setup still, full utility, everything they could possibly want, but ENCE have had to pull out some weaknesses, with a Galil making an appearance here on X7 and no AWP early on for the Finns. Even still, they're going for the mid control, pushing down, using their smokes to clear the way. A smoke in top connector is going to counter out Nexa from having any impact. And now ENCE firmly seized mid control.
Oh, he's about to walk around the corner. Sergey waiting for it, and we'll find the headshot. Can he get it aggressive? Wanted to find that opening kill. Jax will smoke off the palace. Doesn't want Sergey to get anything more done. So he will start to back away. Now Sunny in position towards the connector, waiting to be called upon. He might just get boosted up in towards the window here by Aerial. Supporting Sunny, putting him in a solid position. That's one of the pawns laid. We'll see whether or not ENCE can engineer a way to win this. Holding the advantage certainly will play in their favor. Hunter's aware of the possibility of a player being around this area. He doesn't want to overextend towards the window in case there is vision on his whereabouts. Nexa covering off the connector, so if they are to peek up here, Hunter's going to get some info. Catches Aerial looking the wrong way. Sunny, he's going to be checked as well. Hunter doing so much work. He finds a 3rd kill, and that's incredible from Hunter.
Pulling back the disadvantage that they had found earlier on, but now ENCE move towards the A-bomb site. Jax aggressively in position on the ramp. Won't be catching anyone off. I thought maybe the bomb would be moving there, but the smart decision from X7 to go through Palace where his teammate had already cleared out. Sergey is on the side, and they're going to get a plant down in a 2v4. Without too much contact, I say that as Nexa comes back up, and he might just have spotted Sergey. As you see the turnaround from Jax as he now looks towards the bomb site, catches off Sergey, and this shouldn't be a bomb plant now. They just need to rush at him. And even with it going down, I mean, it doesn't matter. You're not getting any extra money. That's the end of the half as G2 pull it back to 7 rounds.
8-7, a close affair. We'll be back after the short break to see whether or not G2 can pull all the way back on their opponent's map pick. Well, two very closely ranked teams in the HLTV World Rankings. G2 the highest ranked on 11, but ENCE not too far behind on 12. And I think that's a pretty good testament to the scoreline, which currently leads 8-7 for ENCE. But with a pistol pick up from G2, we could be back to even odds. We'll see which way this one goes. ENCE haven't bought anything just yet, but eventually we'll invest into the Kevlar. A little bit of utility coming in for X7. A kit double flash on the back of Sergey as we get right into the second half here on Mirage. Our first map of the day, our first semi-final of the day, as G2 have got utility in the back pocket as well.
ENCE are going to look for middle in the back pocket as they go in for early control. Alu not being able to find any of those kills, spots out a couple. He's going to be baiting now. Ariel's the one that's in position to catch them all. Finds two on the headshots, but he eventually falls. And that leaves control over to G2. The Molotov stops Sunny from being able to go out and stop Kenny S from taking the window control as well. G2 are coming at A from every angle, but they've got to go back for the bomb. Yeah,
Kenny going back, picks up the bomb, and starts to make his way in towards the A bomb site, but Hunter overruns Sergey. It leaves X7 and Sunny in a 2v3 retake attempt. X7 has been pretty good so far. We'll see whether or not he can deliver more impact. Flash up into the air. That blinds all three players, but it doesn't matter. Nexus still takes his head off, and G2 are laser focused right now coming into this. Sunny on the back lines going through CT. Nexa is aware of the possibility and is looking this way. Sunny, it's going to be difficult for him to relocate his crosshair to that position, and Nexa will take him away. G2, an important pistol win. A very well-played pistol as well in towards that A-bomb site.
And where do ENCE take it when it comes to round number 2? Are they going to be forcing up, or are we just going to see the USPs followed by a nice, comfortable buy in the next round? They're still waiting. They're biding their time. It looks like USPs might be the name of the game as they run out of spawn with them in hands. That is confirmed. So we're not looking all too likely for a round win to come through over on the counter-terror side. G2 have got themselves one Mac 10 to farm a little bit of money. But for the most part, they played it safe, not sure of what their opponents would be buying either. You've got 2 Galils and 2 AKs to work with. Mid-control obviously established very early on. You want to use the rifles to claim that.
Well, Hunter looking for the lineup. It's Kenny actually taking away both kills. Jack to look for some eco frags and finds himself 2. Hunter with 1, G2 with 9. And well, they are into the lead. It's been a scrappy first half, but they managed to post 7 on the board, and with a good start into this T side, we'll see whether or not they can start to build that momentum. And coming into this, they've got a buy again. It is going to be pretty weak. You know, they don't have that AWP in the hands of Alu, but they want to get a buy in as soon as possible. They want to start competing for round wins before G2's money starts to build. Utility is not great here on ENCE either. Ariel will throw the Molotov in towards top mid. Smokes up, in through, and Ariel's forced away. Didn't quite need to use the smoke, but once he uses it, he can look over the top in case G2 are putting pressure in towards catwalk early. But it's actually Nexa who decides to go on a bit of a walk in towards the A-bomb site, right through ramps. Sergey with 1, finishes off Nexa, and we're into a 4v4. Such an important duel to win there on that A-bomb site.
For G2, they want to move into B. They've rotated the bomb around and started to slowly creep through, clearing out the apartments. Hunter is the first man in with 14 HP. I think we're going to be swapping that around a little bit. He's got the AK, but has to use it like a dingle. If you're not hitting that one-shot headshot, you're probably dead, as it is. With ENCE, though, they haven't got a read just yet. There's no real information to play with. They don't want to get aggressive and lose one of the rifles and the advantage that they've sought to protect.
Well, 52 seconds. G2 is starting to gather up in towards B with the 1 prong still in middle. Jack's in behind the boxes, cutting off rotations, catching off players who decide to come back through middle, but G2 wants to try and finish it. They're doing damage. X7 caught in a bit of an awkward exchange between nades, but Kenny S takes his head off. Now on towards the bomb site. Sunny moves forward, catches Hunter. Nade coming through is going to do damage on towards Amanek as well, dropping him to 19 HP. We're still in a 3v3, but ENCE have 2 players incredibly low. Sergey and Sunny. And while Sunny is gone completely, it's Sergey making his way back in, but Ariel, in the meantime, trying to buy some time, trying to make some space for his teammates coming through, and Sergey lands an important frag all on Amanek, and he cannot get it done. On 5 HP, Sergey cleans it up, and it's 9-9, even again.
We expect a close match between these 2 teams, and that's why it's such a treat to have Mirage and Dust 2 as the opening maps of the series, because more than likely we're going to see this scrappy play. That's what we like. No whitewashes here. So for ENCE, grabbing that round, when we bring it up to a 9-9 scoreline, they'll feel pretty comfortable with the weapons that they've got saved forward as well. The only shame for them is that they weren't able to save a little bit more, so they do have to invest all the way down, leaving them in a position that if they lose this, then they're obviously in dire straits. But the same can be said for G2, so this is where we see that close scoreline start to spread out a little bit, with G2 immediately throwing their nades down, their smokes in middle to claim that control. ENCE have no mind towards taking it back. They're sitting behind the smokes. They have no presence at the moment with just a 2-1-2 setup. And Sunny, as you can see, sat behind the smoke. He's just got to wait for something to happen. Maybe catch a player pushing through if they boost, but at the moment it's just a complete lack of information for ENCE and a decent start for G2. KennyS on the AWP. Once those smokes start to fade, he'll be in position to try and find them, find a couple of kills.
Ariel walking up in towards ramp, checks the close right corner, has Sergey to try and back him up, but eventually G2 are starting to lean back over towards the middle part of the map. You've got two players in there currently, Kenny and Jack's already there in position. And ready towards the top of the connector, Hunter available if G2 require him. 55 seconds. G2 starting to send Kenny and Jax back over towards B. Again, another setup where they've got the one player in the connector cutting off those rotations and trying to get in behind them with the rest, try and finish on the B bomb site. Didn't quite work in the last, but we'll see if they can get it done here. 40 seconds, still utility available for ENCE as they use the Molotov deep in towards the apartments. Luckily, Nexa wasn't standing in that position, otherwise that would have given up everything, given the info on over. X7 in the corner, the Mag 7 needs to deliver as they come towards them. Only 25 seconds left. G2 have to go, and X7 takes the stance, an advanced stance with the Mag 7, and he will start to do a little bit more damage. Headshots coming through. No kills picked up, though, other than the one. Alu and Sergey, though, certainly cleaning up, and will low HP. Easy pickings for Sunny. It does leave Amanek on his own in a 1v4. He'll start to back away, hoping to carry the AWP over, but Ariel has other ideas, and 10-9, double figures reach for ENCE.
Ariel picking up that AWP in the end as well, gives them a scope on the CT side, exactly what they were hoping for. The problem there for G2, okay, they take middle control very early on, they get a lot of presence, but they don't use up the utility of ENCE, leaving them at 30 seconds to push a bomb site with no real progress having been found. ENCE had gotten aggressive on the ramp to make up for the lack of information they had, but they weren't facing any contact there. The B players are then comfortable to get in a more advanced position using their smoke to get the player up close with the Mag 7. Then obviously Alu dropping the Molotov through pushes them for time. They're less likely to check the close corner efficiently. They're not able to do it. The Mag 7, I mean, how much damage did it just get there? Like close to 300-400, just chipping away at every single player. And G2 just walk into a trap in that sense. You've got to be burning up the util a little bit better. ENCE holding onto it, knowing they didn't need to use it. Now, weakness does come through in the buy, though. You take a look at X7. He's only got an MP9 to work with, but in a round like this, you're happy to have an MP9. You can make quite a bit of bank with it.
Oh, certainly. And while Sunny heads towards the lower connector, looking for a pick to open things up. So it's Ariel who will line up two through a smoke. A kill coming in from Sunny as well. Hunter and Jax left alone, and while Sunny starts to swing in, needs to be careful. Below the window, he gets the info lit. And well, there's an AK for Hunter to play with. Alu able to pick up one on the AWP, but still, Jax 1 HP, barely alive at this point. He will do his best work. He'll attempt to try and drop Alu, but he's going to be swung. Sergey gets to the angle, and it's 11 now for ENCE. An easy pickup, and it should have been as well. But they lose a couple of players in towards the connector. Not exactly the damage that ENCE were hoping for, but they get the round over the line anyway, and that's the main goal.
Yeah, Hunter's just proven to be very dangerous whenever he's got a CZ in hand. This man doesn't give a damn about rifles and doesn't need to. For ENCE, though, picking up that round is very important. They, as you said, would have liked to do it a little bit more convincingly. It is only one rifle that they've lost because they had the MP9 on X7, but the armor, the utility that was just deleted from the map, it's not ideal. It does leave them a little bit lower on cash than they'd like. 11-9, though, G2 investing fully. This is where they need to make the stop. No AWP in play, and a Galil making an appearance on Amanek. Early on, looking towards the A-bomb site, with Amanek just baiting out on middle, dropping over some utility to help out his teammates. And very deep smokes come through, allowing them to take the fight like that onto Sergey.
Well, Alu sits back in CT spawn. Jack starting to make his way forward, smokes up, allow this to happen. A little bit of a different execute in towards the A-bomb site, but I like it. Alu sits back in CT. Next up in Palace is such a strong post plant from G2. ENCE are going to have a very difficult time of getting back in towards this site. And in fact, I don't think they can. unless they find a kill, unless G2 make a mistake and offer themselves up. And should be losing this round. G2 in such strong positions. Jackson towards the connector. In the corner, Ariel walks forward. Oh my god, that's not the spray Jackson was looking for. He will eventually fall. Luckily, Hunter and Kenny S can step up. And now the two ops having to save, having to back away. But Hunter preventing them both. 2 kills collected, and both of the ops from ENCE fall.
It's just a quick masterclass on how not to do it. Up behind them. Those are often the hardest shots to hit. When the player's not looking at you and you just take your time a little bit too much. For G2 picking up that round, it's nice for them. You saw the smokes they threw. They forced the fight very early on onto Sergey. He wasn't really sure what he could do, expecting the smokes to give him a little bit of cover to play around, but instead he's just left in the open with his pants down. No players towards the top of stairs to help him out in that situation. And now ENCE certainly don't have a lot to work with. A smoke down to block the molly, but doesn't actually do it. Sergey's forced out of con and losing quite a lot of health as he goes. 2 deagles, a P250. Very, very light buy from ENCE. They're looking towards the next round. That's where they want to be picking up their 12th, allowing G2 to potentially, and more than likely, equalize this up. G2 take the middle control as they know they can up against this weaker buy. Obviously, the range advantage that comes with an AK. That said, I mean, deagles obviously can hit the one-shot headshot, but without armor.
Oh, and well, speaking of that, X7 has a chance. Hunter taking away on a big flank, looking to try and deliver up on towards the wood. The lineup available for Hunter, but he cannot get it done. Sunny on the USP will find the headshot, and it feels like this is certainly going to be a G2 cleanup. 1 AK though for Sunny. That's at least something for ENCE to play with. The Nexo wants to try and get it out of their hands. He doesn't want to let him carry it over into the next. Instead, he wants to deliver pain, and he will do that towards Ariel. Sunny still away with the AK.
You should be very careful in a round like this. Okay, they've got an AK and you don't want them to save that through to the next round, but at the same time, your money is not in the healthiest of spots. So it is definitely a situation where if you're going to be hunting, you go as a team, you make sure you trade.
And I think Nexo realizes that, right? He just backs away, doesn't want to go in towards the A-bomb site. So G2 will be even in the scoreline. And again, nothing separating these two sides. I think this is going to be a very similar storyline. And if Dust 2 is anything to go by during New York, well, that could be a very similar map as you move into the second. ENCE have elevated their performance going into this event. It feels like they are playing a little bit better. But this isn't enough just yet. G2 keeping 4 players alive, limiting those casualties. They do not manage to pull the op out of Sunny's hands. So that will carry over into the next round for ENCE. 11-11. Well, finally, we'll see probably G2 head into the lead for the first time in a little while. ENCE have got themselves a little bit of a decision to make in terms of what they want to do. They've actually going to go for the investment. They've been able to afford an AWP. Alu can drop an M4, so certainly can get this through. You can see already Alu with the AWP. They let Sergey pick up the M4s, and the AK saved over from Sunny. So actually, that saved AK delivers quite a bit of cash over towards ENCE. So they can get a really solid buy into this, and G2, they might not be able to pick this one up. This is certainly looking like a very close and important swing round.
And G2 take this much more safe than before. Playing 3 players towards the A-bomb site, no real mid-presence early on. They were looking for the pick with Kenny S, but now he starts to rotate around. This is where he'll probably be moving into middle to try and find that presence that they so desperately need and that they've had again and again. Something that we weren't really expecting from G2, but ENCE, I mean, they're not taking mid too convincingly on the CT side so far, dedicating their AWP towards the B bomb site and playing very passive down there with the utility having not been used up early on. You expect those smokes to come through, just desperately looking for a gap there. X7's not able to find all too much. No angles for him to work with, and G2 down the bottom of mid. Bomb still in T-spawn. They can bring it wherever they want at this point, but they haven't got any presence towards a bomb site, so they have to wait. And with 50 seconds on the clock, this could cause a couple of mistakes to come through.
Bomb picked up. G2 heading towards middle again. It's been the duo of Kenny S and Jax making their way up short. Jax the front man, clearing a little bit of space for Kenny S to try and deliver. X7 instead falls off away from the murder hole and back in towards Spawn, but Alu spots him coming towards him. The time is really starting to tick now for G2. They need to finish on this B bomb site, and they're going to sprint through the underpass and back in towards A. Hunter trying to deliver some space available for G2. Aerial stands in Tetris. He could end it all. 10 seconds. They have to start planting the bomb right now at this point. They get on towards the site, but there's the bomb on the floor. Aerial will end it, and G2, the time was against them. They let it run too low, and now Kenny desperately trying to carry the AWP into the next, but ENCE will be so happy with that pickup.
Yeah, you really can't get a round handed to you any easier than that. Just the player tucked in, able to drop the bomb, and you win off of time. Like we said, a couple of mistakes could come through from G2 because there was such limited time, the 50 seconds on the clock, and all they had was middle control, no presence towards the bomb site, and no indication of where they wanted to take it.
And I think G2 realized maybe the plan isn't quite there at this point, so they're going to be taking a tactical pause to discuss some of the issues that went on there, whether or not they can change them up, because that certainly was a pretty mal-played round coming through. It seemed like it was a last-minute ditch, you know, oh, wow, look at the time, we've got to go.
Yeah,
the Hunter had to make space, couldn't deliver, with ENCE playing in front of the smokes and playing in towards the ramp aggressively. You couldn't deal with that either, so big problems for G2, didn't leave themselves enough time to try and clear the sites.
No, and also X7 spotted them from the murder hole. He could see, because only the Molotov was thrown, that they were moving towards the B bomb site. That's why Alu was on edge, ready to take those kills on short, and then G2 had to make the decision to rotate down because they knew that mid players probably rotated in, so now there's 3B. A might be weaker, and yes, it was, but unfortunately Ariel was in the position to cut off the bomb. A great round coming through from ENCE, and now G2 moving very quickly towards the B bomb site off the bat. They're certainly not going to be stagnating this round. They know where they want to take things.
Well, Kenny is prevented from joining his teammate in the apartments. Amanek a little bit further forward in behind the smoke. Molotov prevented Kenny from doing the same, but Alu wants this opening. Hunter towards the underpass. Alu actually comes away. Hunter might have just heard Alu and will take his head off. A good kill to find, but X7 is aware of the player that's dropped into towards the site. He'll spot two heads inside of the apartments. He knows where Amanek is, but it's Sunny who hits the deck. Jacked with a headshot. X7 finding Amanek and picking himself up a Kree. Now there's a chance for X7 to deliver, but the utility is strong from G2. Their presence on the B bomb site is even stronger. And getting this back is going to be so difficult for the two remaining players on ENCE. G2 will find themselves another surely at this point as ENCE begin to back off. 12-12, G2. A good change in pace from the last round, that's for sure.
Definitely better when they know which bomb site they want to move it towards. Now, I mean, there's nothing. I have nothing against spreading out in defaults and taking the more important map control down towards middle, but the change of strategy, we know exactly why it came through. With ENCE saving two weapons forward, the investment could come in. I wouldn't mind them just take it down a little bit lower.
Well, depends on how much money they get into this. So Alu in a position where maybe buy a little bit of a pistol in there, but yeah, overall at this point, ENCE, they will take that AWP into this one, the SG, but at this point you have a decision to make because it's so close to the end of the match now, right? Still even, still 12-12. You can't let one team run away with it. They know the money from G2 is starting to build at this point, but it's not at that point just yet. So you could still chip them away. And there will be a P250 in play for Aerial. He will throw it on. Obviously, you've got the SG and still in play for X7 and the AWP from Alu. So a couple of pistols buying around the saved weapons. We'll see if it is enough to get ENCE a round win. Certainly going to be difficult, but G2 go straight in towards the default again.
I like the decision coming through from ENCE to not buy up in this round. Giving G2 a 13th isn't the end of the world. As G2 move in towards the bottom of mid, though, and this is kind of expected, you're getting your middle control because ENCE haven't got a lot to contest it with. Alu is the main defender, but he has the AWP and blocked off by a smoke. So that's mid going towards the T side.
Well, coming out towards Colin again, Hunter's got himself into this position. And we've seen him be an absolute nuisance for ENCE from this spot exactly. And Kenny, yes, trying to find some damage. Ariel's gone on a bit of a hunt for information. There is a couple of players coming his way. Sergey there to back him up, but they don't have the weapons really to deal with this. So Nexa should still be favored in those fights. Goes for a little peek, doesn't spot anybody, and the timing is not good for him. Instead, he has to go back over towards top mid, but the rest of it starts to make their way through T-spawn. At least the two players getting there, but finally Hunter will strike from his position. He's done it so consistently, but Alu this time is ready for him to overextend. Takes them away, and we're right back into a 4v4, but G2, they want to finish on the B-bomb site. X7 not getting anything from the bench, and that is a huge problem because now Alu needed to deliver, and he can't do so. Ariel and Sergey left in a 2v4. G2 will go into the lead. But a good decision from ENCE earlier in this round will allow them to have a bye moving into the next due to the save money. And maybe this AK as well can, if it's saved over, can bolster that bye a little bit more. You get more utility in.
Oh wow, Sergey is not playing safe at all. He's going down towards CT. He's about to be faced by Jax, but finds the kill for free. Not taking any damage on the back of it. Now the DTs know where he's saving this through, but again, the cash not being too highly stacked for G2, I wouldn't mind them just saving this and not hunting him down. With Sergey carrying forward an AK, presuming it does come through, that's going to be a good advantage now for ENCE to play with. They're coming into a buy round. They're already going to be investing into rifles. And that AK will certainly help because they can drop one over to grant extra utility on one of their teammates. They do call a pause, though, and with Aerial on 4K, X7 4.3, Sunny 4K as well, it makes sense. Make sure you get the maximum ed. Do you want to take the FAMAS with util? Do you want to just buy M4s?
Well, and certainly frustrated there. X7 was so unfortunately caught off from the bench, couldn't get anything done. And well, we always talk about the fact that you don't see much emotion out of this ENCE team a lot of the time, but that is clearly coming through in that round from X7. 13-12, 3 away from victory here, G2 on Mirage, and this is a map that we said could be very heavily favored towards ENCE. We'll see whether or not ENCE can pull it off. They've got money in the bank again going into this next one. Tactical pause perhaps called in to discuss what they want to buy into this. They still won't have exactly the strongest of buys, so they've gone for the decision to invest lightly. Take the AK that they've saved over from Sergey, but invest a couple of SMGs, a few pistols, save most of their money into the next round. But this should mean G2 go to 14.
That's a brave decision. Not a lot of teams will give you 14 rounds when they're on 12 and try to fight for the 4 in a row. I respect ENCE for doing it. Certainly gives them a better chance. As we move in towards the beginning of the round, G2 once again committing towards the A-bomb site with just one player on top mid as they push on out. Up close is Sergey.
Well, this is such a quick play from G2, but Sergey, with the only AK saved over, looking to deliver. He finds himself the first headshot, but Amanek and Hunter swing wide and they're finding kills. X7 will do his best work alongside Alu on the pistols as Alu and X7 continue to frag. It's all on Amanek. 1 versus 2, but now the picked up weapons make things much more doable for ENCE. And this was a round we said you should be letting G2 go up to 14. This shouldn't be a round where you walk away with success, but chaos and the pistols deliver. Amanek has a chance to save the team, but it's not going to be easy for him. He re-enters through Palace, a player below him and one in towards CT. Comes down to whether or not he can win that fight quickly against X7, and the answer is no. He's aware of the possibility of a player being in below him. He'll make steps and they know his position. Spots Alu, gets rid of him, and now it's only X7, and he will pull it off. The pistols get it done for ENCE. 13-13, even once more, and now G2 have the pressure on them.
They absolutely do. Obviously, that's a round that G2 should be winning, but there's a reason ENCE decided to invest into the pistols and the SMGs just to give themselves a fighting chance, and fight they did, pulling it all the way back and destroying G2, dropping the bomb. That's going to be frustrating now for the majority Frenchmen. Knowing that you could potentially be one buy round away from the victory on your opponent's map pick, and now you're in a position where you've got to fight tooth and nail for it again. Equalized up, great push by Alu down towards lower mid. That's an opening duel for ENCE. It just keeps on getting worse for G2.
That's a pick Alu's been trying to go for quite consistently. He's found quite a bit of success. At times, though, he's missed the timing and been picked off. But this time, G2 look to try and get it done on the B-bomb site. X7 walking away with 1 kill, looking for the spray under the second, but the position just a little bit too weak for that. And Sunny needed to do more there, but he cannot do it. 3v3. Nexa with a headshot on towards him. And now looking to hold on. G2 have sunk their teeth deep in towards this B-bomb site. They look to hold on for the post plant. The Molotov not quite reaching Jax barely as he hides in default corner using Amanek as his bodyguard. They can play together holding off this ENCE retake attempt. First kill is Amanek's. Nexa finding a headshot, and G2, the pressure certainly was on them, but they managed to pick up success. 14-3 will be on the board, and Sergey desperately looking to walk away with a few kills. Finds the first on towards Jax, attempting the kill onto Amanek, and eventually picks that one up as well. And he realizes winning this obviously impossible, so slithers away with a yelp, and everyone on G2 dies. So that puts their money in a really sticky situation. So that's a really good job done by Sergey. G2 find 14, but coming into this, it's a nightmare scenario for their money.
Absolutely, that's the real problem for them at the moment. The fact that G2 win with a bomb plant doesn't necessarily mean that it's a positive situation overall. And ENCE, despite having their own weaknesses showing through, have still put themselves in a much better fighting chance position. G2 going to be moving towards mid early on again with those smokes, but only the one player dedicating himself towards it. Jax, again, just being that player lurking back as a very swift movement comes towards the B bomb site.
And you have the AWP in the hands of Alu. That's the added advantage,
no.
but Amanek stands in the Molotov. He thought he was away from it. He thought he was in safety, but unfortunately, he sticks around too long. He can't handle the heat. And while G2, a man down, this is looking good for ENCE. Hunter starting to make his way up with the MAC-10, clearing these corners. He has been so impactful from this connector position, and he finds himself there once more. Alu up on top of the ticket box, playing with Sergey underneath the wood. Yes, just checking underpass, making sure that no one from ENCE is getting aggressive. They don't really have any presence in towards B. G2 looking to just try and walk up through the A bomb site via the connector. Next up, making sure that they don't get caught off in middle, but eventually will join the troops inside of Con. They'll start to make his way past Sergey. He's got a spot it, but he takes his head off as Jax. A follow-up from Kenny. Yes, Alu needs to deliver, and he's got the first pick. Overwhelmed by Jackson. G2, so far so good on the recovery. But X7 and Sunny still alive. Still a chance for ENCE to win this. No kit. They're pretty far away. They've got to move quick.
Sunny's only coming in through kitchen now. The time is really just too low at this point. I think a save has to come through.
Yeah. And it's still not looking good moving into this next, because G2 now on map point on ENCE's map pick of Mirage. This is not the way the Finns would have wanted it to go. Moving into this next round, Mitch, they're not going to have a whole lot to work with.
It's definitely disappointing for ENCE, especially after pulling off that pistol round, to then find yourself in this position where G2 are again just 2 rounds. They've got one. They need 1 round out of 2. Bomb explodes, G2 take it. They've carried forward an AWP, an AK, and a Galil. The investments coming through will put their economy relatively low, so ENCE have got a chance if they win this. But the buy won't be great from the CTs either. As you saw, their cash wasn't great. This is going to be a stressful one for ENCE. And look at what they're buying. A Mag-7, a Scout, a FAMAS, a Deagle, and Sunny has a Scout, or a FAMAS as well. Not ideal.
Not ideal at all, but let's see whether or not ENCE can pull it off. Like you said, they have one off the back of pistols. At least they've got even more than that, so that's kind of a luxury. We'll see whether or not they can make it happen. Ariel stands in behind the smoke, flash up and blinds him. Sergey available to back him up, just in behind. Hunter will start to clear around the window area. It's trying to wrap around the back of Sergey, and well, the MAC-10 will do a little bit of damage on towards Alu. Sergey caught off guard, and Hunter has just been the thorn in their side so consistently on this map. It's G2 with the advantage. Ariel holding on a connector, but Kenny S overrunning him. Oh, nearly goes for the shot on the AWP, but Kenny stays alive in the connector. Somehow still not falling, but Nexa running over the top of the A-bomb site. It's a 4v2. G2 certainly looking like the team to walk away with map number 1. And this is their opponent's map pick. Sunny will rattle a shot off, desperately trying to hold on for ENCE, and X7 delivering on the deagle. He did this in the previous, but now it's a 2v2. Make it a 2v1 is now X7 alone due to Amanek, and he's going to clean it up. Kenny S gets it done, 16-13. G2 will pick up Mirage.
G2 playing out of their minds there, specifically Hunter. We saw him with the CZ have a huge amount of impact in these low buy rounds, bringing them favor where they shouldn't have had it. ENCE now going to be disappointed because we're going on to Dust 2 next, and yeah, we've just had a close map, but that doesn't bode well then for ENCE.
Yeah, this is, of course, G2's map pick coming into the next one. I guess the only silver lining you can take from ENCE is they have great individuals. Dust 2 can be one of those maps that just go 50-50 a lot of the time. It's a bit of a coin toss. But G2 have shown that they are comfortable on the map in the past. They've shown they deliver on the map as well on quite a consistent basis. So this is starting to look very scary if you're a Finnish fan.
No, it absolutely is. You do not want to be ENCE in this situation, but Dust 2, like you said, can be a little bit of a coin flip at times. It can be 50-50, and we're certainly going to hope that the coin lands on ENCE's favor so we can bring it over to a train. There they'll feel a little bit more comfortable, but that's got to be a really solid victory. G2 didn't start it out the best. They were falling behind quite a bit, but they come right back into it in half number 1, and from that point, it's just round by round rolling.
Well, an upset. G2 win map number 1. ENCE's map pick. We'll see if they can bounce back, though. The Finns are certainly cold-blooded. We'll see if they can get map number 2 after the break.